Hello Canada, welcome to another episode of Canadian Citizen Journal. I'm your host, alias Tagai. So today was the big rally, the Poilievre rally, and we're going to get to a few of those clips. I just wanted to show you just some of the crap that's going on with mainstream. Of course, just trying to, especially for the newer viewers who are just trying, just getting off of mainstream, or maybe you just fluked out and somebody shared this video with you. We're just going to go over just some of the typical same old regurgitation that they use. It's really bad. Let's just dive right into this.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. Hundreds of people piled into a convention hall in Ottawa today to hear opposition leader Pierre Poilievre lay out his party's new focus. Putting Canada first is his main promise, a pivot in messaging in response to U.S. President Donald Trump's repeated threats against Canada. The change also comes as the Liberals are surging in the polls, threatening the Conservatives' once monumental lead. Our chief police...
Okay. So a few hundred. And then links the party to Trump. And then says how they're pivoting what they're saying in the past that supposedly got them where they are. And I'm just going to start debunking this right now. Oh yeah, and the polls. Supposed to be really worried about the polls. So this was at the rally. Now, there's lots of videos out there about it. I'm just gonna, that was just one little simple clip just to show you the lineups. I guess the hall itself wasn't just packed. The standing hall behind it was packed. The hallways were packed, and you got to remember they had like some nasty weather rolled through there, huge snow, so a lot of people couldn't make it. It would more than likely have been 3 times the size. Now, from what I've heard, there was well over 2,000 people there. And I'm being modest. Some of the videos and stuff I've seen, it's hard to do a head count, but it was an amazing turnout. But that's not a surprise for Poilievre. Poilievre always packs a house. Not only is he a great speaker, he's got great policies, and he's been in politics long enough that he knows how it functions, which is kind of crucial. Now, normally I'm not a lifetime politician kind of a guy. I actually believe that, to be honest, I would take a farmer or nurse, a waitress, I would take anybody and place them in the chair and almost be guaranteed to have better policies than what most politicians do, lifelong politicians. But he's different. He's young. He's smart. I've never seen him lie. Like all politicians, he has to watch what he says, of course, especially with the media. But anyways, let's get to these polls. So 338 saying there's 205 seats for the CPC, 84 for the Liberals, 40 for the Bloc, 12 for the NDP, 12 for the Green Party, or 2 for the Green Party. Now, what's the skyrocket? What skyrocket? What are they worried about? If they were honest, they wouldn't be wording it like Conservatives are worried that the Liberals are going to win. No. They shouldn't even be mentioning it, really, because this little dip is nothing in this, especially since this is all election banter. That's what this is. And Trump, the Trump effect. But if you take a closer look, these two parties, they're the birds of the same feather. This rise is mostly coming from the NDP and a small amount coming from the Green. There is a little dip. Nothing to be concerned about. Nothing to even really be talking about. If they're going to talk about the polls, they would always just end off saying, but a far cry from the lead that the Conservatives have. They should be saying, oh, the Liberals have been stealing seats from the NDP. So obviously they show favor to Carney, like us, like the mainstream media has been promoting. So we're just going to keep on going. Brian Lilly, worth a follow. Good journalist. Posted this. I saw the clip and then I went looking for it online and I actually was cruising through and saw Brian Lilly posted it. So thank you, Brian. Let's take a listen.
But tomorrow, Pierre Poilievre headlining a big rally here in Ottawa, hooked off a holiday that was actually started by the Chrétien government in the aftermath of Canada's near-death experience.
You see that? You see that? Right? That's what they do. That's what they do. They twist it. Poilievre bad. Chrétien's good. Poilievre stealing from Chrétien. But if Poilievre does it, it's bad. Because Chrétien did it, it's good. No mention that Chrétien fell because of the scandals. And a lot of other things. Bad politician. We'll just keep moving. Yeah, bear with me. I know.
In the Quebec sovereignty referendum. National Flag Day is today on Parliament Hill at about 11 o'clock. The Governor General is going to be raising the flag, saying a few words with the Heritage Minister, honoring the 60th anniversary of sort of the red and white maple leaf design.
I saw a few clips of it. There was hardly anything online about it because there was hardly anybody there and nobody gives a crap. This Governor General is an absolute joke. In fact, she's going to go down in the history books as one of the worst, if not the worst, Governor General, literally in Canadian history, especially after allowing the prorogation of Parliament, which I'm sure hoping by Monday. I'm hoping Monday we find out. I hope they don't drag it out. I want it over with. I want to know what the answer is going to be. It should have been a simple answer. It should be get Parliament open. We're dealing with some nasty stuff here. The people are crying out. This is completely undemocratic.
Earlier this week on social media, Pierre Poilievre appeared kind of with the flag, which if you know your history of the Conservative Party and the fact that sort of in its day wasn't always big fans of this particular flag design, but...
Right? Poilievre wasn't even born when the Conservative Party was arguing about that flag. And she doesn't, and most viewers don't even know what the arguments were. A lot of it was transparency and democracy. They didn't like the fact that all of a sudden they got these flags shoved down their throat and there wasn't really any choice on it. And there were a lot of other things going on as well. It wasn't like, oh, that was the flag and we don't like our flag. That was never, that's our flag. When I was born, that's my flag. When Poilievre was born, that's his flag. That's our flag. Again, right? Twist, 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 twist.
He was out at his official residence calling on all Canadians to unite like never before, saying the threat of tariffs and other insults hurled Canada's way by U.S. President Donald Trump means that everyone, regardless of political allegiance, Poilievre said, should be out showing their colors and raising the flag this weekend. The text messages from the Conservative Party trying to build a nice big crowd for this partisan rally that they're doing tomorrow really suggests that, yes, it is sort of Flag Day, but it's also intended to be very much a rah-rah conservative event.
A rah-rah conservative event. Now, if this was a Liberal or an NDP, heck, even a Green, she sure in heck wouldn't have used a rah-rah event.
One, though, likely to depart from what had been kind of a major theme when Poilievre was sort of in front of crowds, say, for example, last fall. He would say, have whole speeches, in fact, kind of around the narrative that Canada is broken.
It's still broken.
They've really been hammering that as a way to attack Justin Trudeau previously, but saying things like that in this moment arguably could be perceived as making Donald Trump's case about
now conservatives are Trumpers.
How this country is weak and divided and
we are weak. We are divided.
unsustainable. So instead, we are seeing the Conservatives pivot to kind of a true north, strong and free message, hearkening to sort of some branding that they were using, for example, during the Harper years. Poilievre went up north, was talking about Arctic sovereignty and defending Canada in that setting earlier this week. And he also now uses a tagline that actually is borrowed from Wilfrid Laurier, another Liberal Prime Minister that had to confront a threat from south of the border.
Liberal good, conservative bad. Liberal good, conservative bad. That's all I hear.
Laurier and Poilievre now saying Canada first, Canada last, Canada always. Those words simultaneously kind of push back against Washington, but also embrace the rhetorical style of the America First movement in the U.S. And of course, that.
Now, our media has made it out that all Republicans are really bad people. And they've brainwashed Canadians into thinking that. Now, the States figured this out because they live there and they saw that their media was lying, which a lot of Canadians are now seeing how our media is lying. And thank God for social media and the ability for people to do like what I'm doing. We're breaking the glass on the narrative.
That does continue to resonate with Conservatives here in Canada.
Now, I love what Brian put. McGregor should not be on TV explaining politics or anything else to Canadians. This is awful and highly partisan, as always. You nailed it, Brian. Moving on.
I take your point that things have shifted. I don't think anyone would deny that, but you only have to look back to mid-December. Pierre Poilievre was standing up in the House of Commons talking about a time when Canadians would feel proud to wave the flag again. And now it's just a couple months later, he's gone to holding this rally where he is like trying to play the role of Captain Canada, to be fair, as many politicians are at this precise moment. But I think it does speak to the fact that there are things he was saying just a few months ago that he risks being deeply criticized for.
Really? Has she ever been to a Poilievre rally? Nothing's changed. There's a few new slogans because now Trump's involved. Carbon tax Carney is involved. Yes, there are going to be some changes because the loser finally said, okay, I'm going to step down as leader and have somebody else. Canada is still a mess. Nothing's changed because Trudeau decided, okay, I'm done. Yes, Canadians are happy, but everybody I talk to would rather see an election to make sure that he's the leader so he knows how badly we hate him and what he's done to this country. And they keep trying to push this narrative like now that Trudeau's gone, the party is completely different. No, it's not. Every single member of the House of the Liberal Party and the NDP voted for the policies that put us where we are today. No leader is going to change that if the party doesn't think with him. Pierre wouldn't have won if the party didn't think he was going to lead them in a way that the party thought they should be going. So why are they forcing Carney down our throats? Because he is the exact same as Trudeau. In fact, he's worse. Trudeau is a captain. This man is a general. And we're already seeing the power behind him. The fact that the media itself has pretty much already ended the election for the Liberal Party. They appointed Carney.
Not being seen as on side with Team Canada.
Well, look, he's always going to be criticized by media and other political parties. That's the nature of the business. But at the end of the day, he wants this country to be the very best, and it can be. But we have this major threat right now, and we have had 9 years of bad governing, and that.
No, this he does a great job. The other two, they got an NDP and a Liberal. It's embarrassing to watch, especially the one guy. He starts going off about how he's been trying to talk to the Conservatives about the fentanyl crisis and they refuse to listen. Really? Really? It's the NDP Liberals that caused this problem. Everything he said was literally atrocious. It was embarrassing. I don't know how he could literally keep his head up in the air and walk down the street. I don't know. I don't know how they do it. I honestly I don't. I don't know what his truth is, but the reality is Canada today is because of him and people like him. So we're gonna move into the rally. Got a couple snippets. It was hard to do because he goes in and out of French. It's really loud. He does a whole pile. Like it was an amazing rally. These people had a good time, and his speech was phenomenal. But I'm going to show you this first little clip because it's crucial you see this, because I was talking about how we weren't even born when the flag was made, and right away the media is trying to link that kind of argumentative thing, like the Conservatives are anti-Canadian flag, all that bull crap. Take a watch.
Today we actually have a true Canadian hero with us. It's Joan O'Malley. She sewed the very first Canadian flag on November the 6th, 1964. Once again, let's welcome Joan to the stage.
Thank you. I remember in 1964 when my dad, Ken Donovan, phoned and asked if I could help him. The Prime Minister needed 3 prototype flags ready to fly up at Harrington Lake the next morning, and this was late on a Friday afternoon. Anyways, I went and help my dad out, and now 60 years later, I remember that day because when I sewed the flags, I was asked not to say anything about what I had done. So when the flag was official on February the 15th, 1965, I called in sick. I wasn't. And I stayed home and watched it on TV. And as the flag was being raised, I thought, oh, I was one of the lucky ones and the first one to see our flag and be the part of the birth of our flag. Yes. Anyways, and I also have a little story about Pierre. I don't know if he remembers this, but probably about 15 years ago, and we were at a local school in the gym, and Pierre was sitting at a table, and I went and sat down beside him, and I said, Pierre, I think you're going to be my next Prime Minister.
Boom. Okay. So the lady that stitched the flag, the very, very first flag, the one that the Conservatives are supposed to hate, the ones, blah, blah, blah. 15 years ago, thought Pierre was going to be our next Prime Minister. Boy, the media is never going to talk about this part. And if they do, they will try to use it and twist it in some way. And if they do, I'll be the first to post it.
Sometimes it does take a threat to remind us what we have, what we could lose, and what we could become. The unjustified threats of tariffs and 51st statehood of Donald Trump have united our people to defend the country we love. We must respond with strength, and strength means leverage. America has leverage, and we have leverage. I will use that leverage. Retaliation is only the beginning. Yes, we need to retaliate. If they put tariffs on our steel and aluminum, I will put tariffs on their steel and aluminum. If they hit us with generalized tariffs, we will respond dollar for dollar. Yes, we will carefully target American goods that we don't need, can produce ourselves, or we can get elsewhere to maximize the impact on Americans while minimizing the impact on ourselves. 100% of the proceeds of these counter tariffs will reimburse our businesses and workers that are directly impacted, and the rest will go to tax cuts to relieve Canadians. Not one penny will go to government spending. We cannot use this crisis as yet another liberal excuse to raise taxes or to do money printing spending, which will only cause inflation. What we will do instead is use our leverage to fight back. We will make sure that Americans know that they will be paying the tariffs they impose on us. I will send the clear message so that everyone in key American states understands that they will pay the price for the decisions to punish our country. Refinery workers, home builders, automakers, and others will need to know that their jobs depend on the goods we sell them, and that tariffing those goods will lower their wages and threaten their jobs. And it doesn't stop there. America cannot power its energy-hungry future without buying surplus power that we make. You know, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, and Meta are all turning to nuclear power, in some cases buying or building their own nuclear plants to power AI data centers. In fact, these data centers, you know, when you do a chat GPT inquiry, it takes 10 times as much electricity as a Google search. Isn't that incredible? That's the power of this AI, artificial intelligence. You know we have artificial intelligence in the government, eh? Different type. The Americans will need nuclear, natural gas, hydro that can power those centers. And we have cold weather here that reduces the cost of cooling them. We can leverage that power while protecting our people. Americans need our radar, surveillance, ongoing cooperation to keep us both safe against intercontinental and supersonic missiles and other threats. They need our minerals, uranium, oil, and gas. Finally, we must remind our American friends that a trade war will simply reduce the funds both our countries have for our shared North American defense. It will make us less safe. As Winston Churchill said, though, you can always count on the Americans to do the right thing after exhausting all other possibilities. So let me spell out the possibilities for our American friends and speak directly to them. Option one, you can carry out an unprovoked attack on our economy. Your consumers will pay more and your workers will make less. Gas prices will skyrocket. You will turn a loyal friend into a resentful neighbor, forced to match tariff with tariff and to seek friends everywhere else. Both our economies will weaken, leaving less money for defense and security, and our enemies will grow stronger. Yeah. Option one. Option two, we trade even more. And both our workers make more. Our consumers pay less. The resulting GDP boost allows Canada to further strengthen its border and up our military spending to 2% of GDP faster.
That's a leader. The way he worded that was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I'm going to skip ahead here.
Which option the Americans will choose is up to them. But let's be honest. We have to be prepared for the worst. Simply put, we can no longer depend on the Americans alone for our trade. We can no longer think of them as our backup defense. These threats, my friends, are a wake-up call. We should be the wealthiest and most self-reliant economy in the world today, given our natural resources. But instead, here we are. We have the fourth biggest supply of oil, yet we must import 179 million barrels of foreign oil every year because of the Liberal No New Pipelines Act, which is still law today. We are the fifth biggest supplier of natural gas, but we can't export a single cubic foot of it overseas because we don't have a single liquefaction facility. The Liberals, according to Trudeau and Carney, they don't believe there is a business case for LNG plants. We have the fewest homes per person in the G7, even as we have 10 times as much land to build on as the second biggest country, because taxes and bureaucracy block home building, leaving our youth without houses. We sell twice as much to the Americans as we sell to Canadians in other provinces, because trade barriers governments impose block us from selling and buying with each other. We have the third most farmland per capita in the world, yet food prices rose 37% faster in Canada over the last 5 years than they did in the U.S. because the Carney-Trudeau carbon tax on farmers and truckers rose the price. Now, what have the Carney-Trudeau Liberals done about this? Well, they doubled the debt. They doubled housing costs. They doubled food bank lineups. They blocked Canadian energy in favor of dirty dictator oil. They raised taxes on work and investment and have driven an astonishing, eye-watering $500 billion to the United States in Canadian investment that now pays to create American jobs. All of this before a single tariff was applied. Now, Liberals would like to instrumentalize the tariff threat to distract from the record of the Carney-Trudeau Liberals over the last 9 years. They say that we should just forget about all the damage they've done to our country because of the tariffs that might be coming down the road. In fact, the opposite is true. Think of it, my friends. If Carney-Trudeau policies did this much economic harm before tariffs, imagine the devastation they would cause after tariffs. We need a Prime Minister who will put Canada first, our workers, our businesses, our economy, our borders, our military. We must, well, I need you too. Are you with me? Thank you. I thought so. And we must be able to stand on our own 2 feet, no longer helplessly dependent on the Americans. You know, the media is now saying that I should change my entire platform because of the tariff threat.
Remember I was talking about this a little bit earlier, right?
In fact, the Trump tariff threats have proven conservatives right on everything. It's true. Everyone now admits, or they claim to admit, that conservatives were right on the liberal capital gains tax hike, that conservatives were right on the carbon tax, on pipelines, on LNG, on fentanyl, the borders, immigration, and the need to celebrate rather than cancel our proud history and country.
He's got a couple pretty funny snippets in here. I'm just gonna, like I said, I'm kind of speed scrolling through this, and I post the link below, and you'll be able to watch the full thing if you want. Oh, what's going on here?
We need new trade partners. I mean, we sell 75% of our exports to the Americans. I've got a new export partner in mind. A new country that we're going to use to become less dependent on the Americans alone. Great country. Nice people. They speak French and English. cold climate. It's called Canada. Right now, we have tariff barriers between our provinces that are almost as big as the one that President Trump is threatening. That's why we sell twice as much to the Americans as we do to ourselves. This is madness, my friends. Within 30 days of becoming Prime Minister, I will bring together the premiers with the aim to remove the hundreds of pages of carve-outs and exemptions in the Canada Free Trade Agreement that slow or stop goods from moving from province to province. We will set up a blue seal test and trade that provinces test and licensing process so that provinces can accept and allow doctors and nurses from all across the country. And furthermore, we need to allow the 20,000 immigrant doctors and 32,000 immigrant nurses to quickly take a test and get to work, reducing wait times in our hospitals. And to get the deal done, this will boost our GDP. Billions of dollars of extra tax revenue will result not from higher rates, but from a bigger, freer economy. And I will use the extra federal revenue from free trade to pay a bonus to each province that voluntarily knocks down barriers and opens up its market to fellow Canadians. Pour conclure l'entente, je vais offrir aux provinces une prime de libre-échange. On va les encourager d'éliminer les barrières pour qu'on puisse avoir une vraie Now, it's funny. While people can't currently bring alcohol across Canada, they can easily traffic deadly doses of fentanyl, guns, and illegal migration into Canada. We must take back control of crime, drugs, and the border from the radical, borderless, woke ideology of the Carney-Trudeau Liberals. They allow 99% of shipping containers to enter uninspected. The government's own report says there are as many as 500,000 people here illegally, but they admit they're not quite sure because they've lost count. Or perhaps they just can't count. That might be the answer. My Canada First plan will deploy military helicopters and surveillance to the borders, add 2,000 new border agents, expand the powers to patrol the full border, install new high-powered scanners, towers, and drone systems, and track departures so that we actually know if the people deported have left the country. Actuellement, les gens ne peuvent pas passer l'alcool ni des arbres de la crime libéraux. Des systèmes de savoir pour savoir. He should tell that to the families of the 50,000 Canadians who've lost their life.
It was an absolutely amazing speech. It's really long, but it's worth it. It's worth every minute of it. He really has a great way of kind of analyzing the situation of where we're at and deducing what needs to be done. And obviously, he's not afraid to do it. And the few people in the party, when he first took over, that kind of he wasn't their favorite. He has pushed that either out or secured them through his positioning. There is no WEF. Period. He said it many times. He knows what's going on. There will be no Davos. Period. He said it many a times. Now, when it comes to the mainstream, again, you got to watch what you say because they like to twist it. But the more and more people start watching real media, getting the truth, the less and less power they'll have against us. The link will be posted below. I really do encourage you to watch the video. It's really good. It's really good. So, other than that, pretty much all I got to say here. You guys have a great day. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to punch the notification button so you don't miss any future episodes. Until next time, I'm Elias Tagay, and this is the Canadian Citizen Journal.